Hi, as you know, I am Kaylin, and today we're going to be learning how to add leave and then also how to authorize overtime. So we're going to start with adding leave. There's multiple ways that you can add leave in terms of either per employee or then you can add that in bulk. So we're going to start off per employee. So we're going to go the blue man. You would then obviously highlight your employee that you need to add these leaves for. Let's add this guy. Go to leave, and this will then display all your leave types and you know what he's taken already. So if you go to the used list, you can see then if there was any leave that had been added from the 1st of June, you would see it in this list. You can also then add leave this way. Let's go and add leave in the screen. We would then specify the employees already selected. We specify the type of leave that we want to take. If we click on that question mark, you can select sick leave, study, whatever leave types have been set up. Now, in a previous training session, I have showed you how to set up leave types, and it also obviously depends on your shift setup in terms of allocating those hours. So let's go and add sick leave. It asks you what is the requested date. So if you want to record, when this employee requested for the sick leave, if it is for annual leave and this employee say applying for the end of the year, you can then put that date in. I'm going to go and add, our period is between the 3rd and the 9th, so I'm going to go and add leave for this employee for the 3rd of June. Let's go and select that, 3rd of June. And your from date is from the 3rd of June as well. I usually make my requested date, if I'm not too worried about it, I make it the same as my from date. Your to date, then, if he's only taking the 3rd of June off, it'll be till the 3rd of June. Let's say he's taking Monday and Tuesday off, it'll be from the 3rd to the 4th. So let's go and select 2 days. He's taken from the 3rd to the 4th, and it was 2 days leave that he took. You can also put in a reason for this employee. If you have pre-defined reasons, you can just go and select them, or you can then just type in your reason. You can also specify whether this leave type has been approved, whether it's not approved, or whether it's still pending, in case somebody else needs to go and approve that. Now, if we say this is approved, you can also go and specify the approval information in terms of who decided, who approved this, and when was it actually approved, and once again you can also put in a comment. I'm not too worried about that, so I'm not going to enter any of that. You've also got your groups. Now the group option lists the employee, it lists the employee group classifications that the employee falls within. Now, it also lists the minimum staffing level of each of the actual number of staff that are not on leave for each classification for this period of leave that this employee has requested leave for. Obviously, this has been set up. You will see then all your different, your classifications and all those, group classifications that there are and the minimum and all that jazz there. Okay, so we're going to go back to the application tab. We've got in all our information. I'm pretty happy with that. We click on OK, and we will see that leave type is then displayed there. Also, like I say, depending on your shift setup, whether this type of leave is paid or not will actually then be done in the leave type setup screen there. You can also go to your calendar view, where you can then view all this type of leaves here in the calendar form. So obviously here in this calendar form you can also go and add leave here. You will see then here is those 2 days that we added for sick leave. You can go and right click and you can go and add leave on the calendar view as well. It opens up exactly the same screen which you can fill in their details. Okay, so I'm just going to cancel that. We've got our leave for sick leave. I'm not going to save that. You've also then got your leave earn screen. I'm going to go to another employee here. And let's go and close that. That processes. We're going to go and select John Corrington. We're going to go back to leave. Now, if you've got advanced leave setups, in terms of this employee, let's say this employee earns 30 days of sick leave for the next 3 years or whatever that is, you would need those leave type scales to be set up. That gets done in your configuration module. Your consultant, TNA consultant, can do that for you. Set up these different leave scales, and you would then obviously have to go and specify what scale this employee belongs to. So if we're going to click on scales first, I'm going to show you we need to go and add a scale for this employee. Now this scale that we're going to add, we're going to use this for annual leave, and this employee earns this annual leave. I'm going to show you, let's just step a few steps ahead. We're going to go and select this leave scale that's been set up. It says this employee earns annual leave of 15 days per year. Okay, so that's the one we're going to use. I'm going to then just select that. You got to specify from which date this leave scale would apply. In other words, let's say this employee starts on the 1st of June, and on the 1st of June, going forward, the next year, he will earn 15 days for that year. Come the 1st of June next year again, he will automatically earn his 15 days leave again, provided he's still there. So we're going to select the 1st of June then. Let's say this employee is on this scale from there. You would specify what leave type this leave scale would apply to. In this case, it would be paid leave, that is our annual leave. And we've already selected the leave scale, so he's going to earn 15 days per year from the 1st of June. Just click on OK. Now just going quickly to the summary, this is where it displays how much leave this employee already has, how much he's earned, how much has been brought forward, and obviously as he takes it, it'll go in that spend column. Now nothing is displayed yet. We have added a scale for the 1st of June, but you will see as soon as I close the screen, it'll process that information. I'll just wait for this to run through. Should be pretty quick. And then when we go back to that leave window and we look under the summary, we should see that this employee has earned 15 days leave. So let's just go summary. He's earned 15 days. So at the moment he has 15 days paid leave. Now if we go back to the used list, actually let's go to the calendar. Let's go and add one there. And I want to go and add leave. Let's choose the 3rd again. I'm going to right click, click on add. And we're going to leave this on the paid leave type. We're going to add leave. I'm going to change my requested date to the 3rd of June again. We're going to add leave for the 3rd to the 3rd. We're only going to add 1 day's leave. I'm approved. I'm not going to put any approval details in. I'm not worried about groups. Currently his balance is 15 days. So as soon as we click on OK, we would have added that leave type, which is paid. If we now then go to our summary, we will see that he's spent 1 day of his paid day leaves and he's only got 14 days left. So this is when you've got advanced leave set up. Otherwise, you would just basically have allocate your 15 days for the year, which would be under your employee details. Let me just show you there. I'm going to close that. Let's change this and we will go to employment. Here you would set up that this employee gets 15 days leave per year, and when does that period start. Now generally you would use your scales and that when you got leave accrual. So basically this guy would earn he earns 1 day's leave for every 1 month worked, or he earns 1.75 leave days for every 1 month worked. That is when you're going to use the leave scales. Otherwise, if he earns a fixed amount, just 15 days per year or 18 days per year, it's pretty straightforward. You don't need advanced leave. You can just then fill this information here. Obviously, if you don't have any advanced leave, you will not see that earned and the summary and the spent and all that jazz. It'll just be pretty plain. You will add your leave types, your leave here, or then in your calendar view. So that is adding then leave on an individual basis. We need to then just, I'm going to show you how to add leave for everybody. So let's say you've got a company shut, that's happening in December or June, whenever you have that. You can go to the smiley face, which is your global leave window. You can then, you'll see, let's go and select the June. We're working in that period. Yeah, you will see all the different types of leaves with their color coding. Now let's say you don't want to see any sick leave for argument's sake. You can untick that and you won't be able to view that. This is then obviously in the calendar view. You can also go and view this in a list view, which will just display all the leave types that have been added. So if you wanted to add leave, whether it be in this screen or then in your calendar view, let's go and say we want to add some leave for this. We're going to click on that day. You can either right click and add, or you can click on the add button at the bottom. It'll open up that same screen that we had in the daily in the employee screen for the individual employees. You can once again specify your type of leave, whatever that may be. Let's just select that, your from and your to date. Let's give them till there. Once again, your requested date. If you're not too concerned, you can just leave that on the day that you add that. And how many days leave he's taken? 5, 6, 7. That's 3 days leave that he has taken, and it is approved. Now, what is important to remember here is, let's say this employee actually took off he took the Friday and he took the Monday off. So we're going to put in our from date is from the Monday. Your to date, what you need to remember, if this employee would not have worked the Saturday and Sunday, you cannot put your to date to the 10th. The reason being is if you're going to add this till the 10th, that's going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 days. If he was supposed to work the Saturday and the Sunday, it'll be fine. You can add that then till the Monday. Now let's say he wasn't supposed to work the weekend. What you would have to do is add one entry from the 7th to the 7th, which is 1 day, and then go and add another entry which is from the 10th to the 10th, which is for that Monday. The system cannot automatically just see whether he should have worked that weekend or not, on the weekend, or should it include it, shouldn't it include it. So you need to specify then the Friday and then specify the Monday. I'm going to click on OK, and we'll see that that leave type has been added there. Okay, now anything that you see in this window, as with most of the other windows, what you see here, there's always a send to button, which you can send this to the printer, to a file, or if an email has been set up, you can go and send that information to that. So that's just a quick print if you need to do that. Obviously you're viewing per month here in this window, but it works pretty much the same as the individual screen in terms of adding that employee. Same that leave type, same window there. Okay, so that's adding leave then. We can move on to the overtime authorization. I'm going to show you again on an individual basis. We're going to go to that blue man. And let's start off with our employee here. We're going to specify our pay period, which in this case we're going to work from the 3rd of June. Let's see, up until the 9th of, not July, 9th of June. There you go. That is our pay period. There you can see our sick leave that we added for those 2 days. And this employee worked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday he worked. So let's go and take a look here. We have some leave here for the 7th, which he has worked then 2 hours. Now depending on your shift setup, whether these hours worked would go directly to your overtime or then go to your hold category. Obviously if it goes to hold category you would be using overtime authorization, and you would need to authorize this overtime before this employee can actually earn that leave. Okay, so we're going to go then for this. Now there's a quick authorization which you can do. If you're happy with the hours that are in this column and you would like to just authorize those hours, you can then highlight that record and you can press Control A. This will then automatically authorize those hours. Now because this employee worked short, he actually only worked 6 hours, and he was supposed to work 8 hours, and they have balancing rules on this shift, it would automatically take that overtime and throw it into his normal time, which now is 8 hours. Okay, so that's a quick authorize. It'll authorize whatever is in this column, it just carries it over to that window. The other way of authorizing overtime is if you highlight that record. We'll see here on the Sunday, this employee was not supposed to work, yet he came in. You will see in the hold category 2, which is double time, with 9 hours and 6 minutes. Now if you highlight that record and you click on the overtime button at the bottom, it'll open up your daily overtime authorizations window. So here you can go and add your overtime then. So let's click on add, and for the 9th of the 6th we can see on the right hand side it displays what the employee actually worked, and on the left hand side this will be what you would authorize. Now in my case, let's say I don't want to authorize 9 hours and 6 minutes. I only want to give him 9 hours. I would allocate 9 hours in my overtime 2 category. You can put a reference in there. If you can say a machine broke down, or why did this guy come in on a Sunday, you can specify that reference. We can click on OK. and that entry will be added. Now what you need to also remember is that when you add this authorization, you cannot authorize anything more than he's actually worked. It'll only authorize up till the amount that he's worked. So if I had to go and put in 10 hours, it would only give him 9 hours and 6 minutes. So it is limited to the amount of actual hours worked. So in this case, we can see we authorized 9 hours. It now displays 9 hours in our overtime 2 category. Okay, so that's quick authorize is Control A, which authorizes the exact amount, just carries that over. If you want to authorize a different amount, you would click on that, highlight that record, click on the overtime button, and actually go and add that overtime there. Okay, so that is on an individual basis that you can add that. You can also go and add leave in bulk. So let's say you know that some machine has worked, all guys need to be in and working on this machine. You can go and add this in bulk. I'm just going to show you. If we go to, let's just choose this employee, let's go and check our daily hours window, and we go and view our overtime. Let's just see if we can view when this overtime was added. We can see previously there was a bulk entry added for the 5th of the 6th. So as soon as it is a bulk entry, you will see the little blue box there, which is always displays a bulk entry that you've added there. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to actually do this. We're going to go and add some bulk overtime. We're going to close this window, close our blue man, and we're going to go to bulk and then overtime authorization. Now depending on whether you've got daily authorization or payroll authorization set up, you would obviously then go and authorize it on the relevant links there. So we've got daily authorization set up here. I'm going to click on that. You can specify your employees that you want to add this overtime for, either then if you want to do a custom selection or per branch. I'm going to just select all non-terminated. I don't have too much employees here. And we are going to go and add some overtime authorization for the 7th of June. So let's specify from the 7th of June to the 7th of June. You can obviously go and specify a longer period. If there was 3 days that they worked, it'll allocate then your amount that you're giving here for all 3 days. Now what is important to remember here in this window is that the hours that will be authorized that you put in here, let's say you're going to put in 2 hours in this window. It'll not necessarily give everybody 2 hours overtime. What it's going to do is it's going to look at how much overtime the employee actually worked, and it'll authorize up to a maximum of then the amount you put here. In our case, we're going to say 2 hours. So it'll authorize for all employees on the 7th, it'll authorize overtime 1.5 up to a maximum of 2 hours. And once again, you can obviously go and put in your reference here as to why you've added that overtime authorization. So let's click on add, and it's going to run through that ad, and then we can just go and take a look at these entries. So let's go back to our blue man, and let's choose this employee. Let's go to daily hours. Now once you've added the overtime authorization, it is important for you to go and do a bulk process once you're done, so that any overtime authorization that you have added, that it will just process that. I'm going to just try and choose a different employee. This is as that one has got some leave that we've added in, or I can just go and remove that. Let's just choose another employee. Daily hours. Let's go to the 7th. Okay, so we've seen that this employee worked 2 hours and 1 minute. Now remember what I said, when you've done any bulk entries, always go and do a bulk process for your payroll period, just to take that entry in effect. So I'm going to highlight this and just do a quick process for that day, so that we can see if this, let's just check here. Once again, this employee has worked short, so it is going to take that overtime into his normal hours there. let's just see, 8 till 5 is going to be 9 less hours is 8 hours worked. So he actually didn't earn any overtime at the end of the day. What I'm going to do, let's go back to this employee. I'm just going to remove that leave entry. Let's go and delete that. Are you sure you want to delete it? Yes. We can close that. Let's just go and take a look here. Now obviously if there was any leave that was added and for that employee and you're going to add a bulk entry like we did now, just make sure if you go and double check those hours, just make sure there wasn't somebody that shouldn't have got those hours. And it depends on what is the majority group. Is most of the employee rather getting overtime and you can just go and edit 1 or 2 that shouldn't be getting, or is it the other way around? So let's just go and see here. We've got 2 hours 49. Let's just see if we can get any overtime here. Can't get any overtime for that employee either. Let's just go and check, confirm that we have added everything. For the 7th, it'll authorize up to a maximum of 2 hours, which is what it has given that employee. He obviously worked 2 hours 49, so he's worked a little bit extra. So it won't authorize all that overtime there. Now also in your hold category you'll see that it still displays 2 hours 49. It'll always display that. It's never going to go and subtract the hours that you have authorized. Like in this case you've authorized 1 hour, it'll still show because this is the actual hours that this employee worked, just so that you can still have a record of what he actually worked. Okay, so you can add overtime in bulk then, you can add it individually. You can also go and view the overtime. If we go to query or edit, daily hours overtime authorizations, we can view all overtime that has been authorized in this window for all the employees. Okay, so you can see then what has been. You can also go and add in this window. Brings that same one. The only difference here is you would have to go and select the employee, where there it is pre-selected because you are working with one employee. You've selected that name. And that is pretty much adding then your leave and authorizing overtime. Now, like I said before, it depends on your shift setup, whether you actually have overtime authorization set up. If you would like this to be set up, you can always contact your TNA consultant and just ask them, if they could help you with that. Otherwise, if you've, got your overtime that just goes straight to OT 1.5 column, then you would obviously not use this. Leave. If you have any scales that need to be set up, you've got advanced leave requirements, then you could use your different scales. Otherwise, you would then just specify that this employee gets the 15 days flat per year or 21 days or whatever that may be under your leave section here, and when that period would start. This will do exactly the same in terms of, let's say we're going to give this employee 3 days leave or sick leave per year or whatever. Then on the first, whatever date you've selected here, it will automatically allocate that amount of days again. So yes, usually leave is done by your payroll system, but if you would like to just double check them, if you've got basic leave, you can certainly use this. I hope you have learned something and that I see you next time. Goodbye.